Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the Adidas AE1 lows. Now, when it came to the original AE1s, in my opinion, it is one of the best shoes that you can get right now. The traction is beastly, very grippy. Cushioning is amazing as well with the materials that you get, with phenomenal lockdown and support to boot on top of that. Now that I got the AE1 lows, I was curious to see what changes were made and see if it is on par with the original AE1s in that perspective. Now that I got them, here is what I think of them. Firstly, when it comes to the try-on experience, it is much easier to put these on compared to the original AE1s. In the original AE1s, I had to space out the laces all the way down. That way I could get my foot inside the shoe. And it was still a pain to get into once I did that. But luckily with this, I didn't really have to do that much. Just had to open up the top laces and just put my foot inside the shoe, and I was pretty much good to go. As far as sizing is concerned, I went true to size, and I wish I went down half a size, because initially when I went true to size, it was really nice and snug, and it stubbed all the way to the top of the toe box. However, once I broke it in, it did open up a little bit, and I did have some space inside the shoe. So because of that, the materials break in over time and eventually expands inside the shoe. So for that, I would go down half a size for me. For narrow footers, I would probably go down a full size. And for wide footers, you should be good to go ordering your true size, because it does expand over time once you break in the materials. And as far as pricing is concerned, they retail for $110 compared to the originals, where they go for $120. So if you guys are interested, there is a limited quantity of these. So if you guys are interested, I will try to leave links in the description box below. So for the traction setup, it is the same as the original version, where you get this bumpy translucent outsole with this aggressive herringbone traction pattern, and it grabs the floor like crazy, and it is beastly in my opinion when it comes to grip. I didn't have to break it in, so I had grip the moment I put them on. So for lateral movements, it felt really grippy and tacky going from side to side, and the same went with the vertical movements. The hard stops, you're able to stop on a dime, and you're going to get really snappy first steps to boot on top of that. And in my opinion, is one of the best traction setups to get on a clean court because of that. For dust, it does pick up a little bit of dust, but it isn't altered when it comes to the overall performance, and it is very easy to wipe off. So you have to wipe it every now and then, and you're going to be all set. But I didn't really have to wipe it all that much. So if you are a casual wiper, just feel free to do so, and you're going to be basically good to go, regardless of the court condition that you're in. And for durability as well, it is solid in my opinion. I rarely see any signs of wear in this outsole, with a little bit of grazing in the high wear areas on the edges of the outsole. So you're going to be good to go indoors. Outdoors, I would be cautious, because the rubber itself is a little flimsy and thin, and when you start to break in the outsole outdoors, it will start to bind together with the grooves very close to each other. So keep in mind, outdoors you should be fine for a little bit, but indoors you're going to be good to go, regardless if it is on a clean court and a dusty court as well. So overall, it performs exactly the same as the original AE1s in my opinion, and is one of the best traction setups that you can get so far. So for the cushioning setup in the low tops, you're going to get a full length light boost midsole. Compared to the high top version, you got a jet boost midsole, which was kind of weird that they switched it overall. But however, when it came to the forefoot cushioning, it has a nice responsive feel under your foot, but I didn't think it was as lively as the regular version with the jet boost that has a little more of a lively feel under your foot. The bounciness as well is pretty good too. You get the same tooling as the high top, with the bottom loaded infinity shaped plastic plate that you get underneath. It gives it a nice spring under your step, that we're going to have a nice bouncy feel overall. And also it isn't as bouncy as the high tops in my opinion. With the boost, it's a little more lively under your foot compared to the light boost, where it just dims it down a little bit. And when you move into the heel cushioning, it is kind of the same story too. The light boost is overall nice and compressible on foot, but it is a little firmer compared to the jet boost. And overall, it still gets the job done when it comes to overall comfort. It has decent compression in the heel, and the impact protection, it was overall pretty solid. However, I did experience on really hard heel strikes, I did notice the cushioning bottom out, and it felt like I was hitting the floor directly with my heel, which was a little cause of concern. I didn't feel that in the original version. So that is a little cause of concern when it comes to the heel cushioning, and that just be mindful of that. It will bottom out when you're doing really hard heel strikes. However, for fluidity, they feel exactly the same in my opinion. The overall heel to toe transition is pretty smooth, considering that it is a little clunky in the back. So it's overall really nice and really fluid overall. It is a little firmer in the low tops, but it is overall pretty nice with the overall heel to toe transition. And it in my opinion, it is a little quicker in the low tops when it comes to the overall heel to toe transition. It is a little more snappy under your foot, and it feels a little lighter on foot too, considering that it is a low top. So I would expect it to be a little lighter compared to the high tops in general. So overall, when it comes to cushioning, I did find the cushioning in the high top version to be a little bit better, with the overall Jip Boost being a little more responsive, a little more bouncy, and a little more comfortable in the heel as well. But overall, you can't go wrong. It is a slight downgrade to the original AE1s in my opinion. Now for the materials, it is the same materials that you're going to get in the AE1 high tops, but it is a low top. It carries over the same honeycomb TPU plastic panels that you get on the lateral and medial side, with the same textile material that you get in the forefoot as well. And you also get a more exposed lace line compared to the originals, where it is closed off on the bottom of the lace line. You get an independent tongue, which is made out of neoprene and is very minimalistic in padding. And you get a nice abundance of padding in the heel, which is very comfortable and really foamy as well. It is really comfortable too. Feels just like the high top version. You do have to break in the forefoot a little bit because the plastic is stiff at first, but it is very easy to break it down, and it does expand very quickly. So it has really nice flexibility here in the forefoot, and in the midfoot it is pretty comfortable too, considering the minimalistic padding that you get from the tongue itself. Overall, it is pretty comfortable, and I didn't experience any lace irritation, and the padding in the heel is nice and abundant, and it is very comfortable and very forgiving in the heel as well. For aesthetics, it is very nice overall, exactly the same as the AE1s, but it is more slimmed out than the AE1 high tops. It looks a little bit more bulky. It still carries over that futuristic theme with the overall TPU panels that you get, which is really nice. And I also like the plastic TPU shank that is exposed as carbon fiber, but it really isn't. My only gripe is that the panels itself does get scuffed very easily, and it has this very glossy texture to it, which makes it stand out like a sour thumb. So the more you play in it, the more scuffed it will become, and it won't look as nice over time. So keep that in mind if you want to keep these nice and fresh. I would avoid playing in these, but if you like playing in them, feel free to do so. It is very good overall. So in my opinion, it is exactly the same as the AE1 high tops. Very comfortable overall inside, and they look very aesthetically pleasing as well with the overall futuristic look. But in the lows, it is a little bit more slimmed down because it is a low top. When it comes to the lockdown, it is overall pretty good, but not as good as the high tops in my opinion. For the forefoot lockdown, it is a little sloppy. You do move side to side inside the shoe, especially when you break in the materials. It does open up inside the shoe, so you're going to experience some sliding when you're doing lateral movements. For vertical movements, you do feel it a little bit slide forward when you're doing hard stops, but it isn't anything crazy in my opinion. I did stub my toe a little bit, which was a little uncomfortable, so keep that in mind. For the midfoot, the lacing system is overall pretty good, and it is more opened up compared to the original version, where it is nice and open in the bottom of the lace line, but you're able to tug it really nice and tight, and you're going to have really good lockdown in the midfoot. And a huge plus is that the laces don't come undone, or compared to the original version where they come undone for random spots at a time, and it was very annoying to deal with. But in the lows, I didn't experience that at all, so that is a huge plus when it came down to that. However, in the heel, the first thing I noticed when I put them on and tied them up was that I had a ridiculous amount of heel slippage, and it was crazy. So that was a little bit of an issue to deal with, and once you break it in, it improves a little bit, but you still experience it every now and then, and it is quite noticeable compared to the original version where I didn't move at all, considering that it has a high ankle collar and has more containment when it comes to the overall lace line that you get. So overall lockdown is pretty good in the midfoot and the forefoot, with a little bit of sliding here and there. But in the heel, it has a ridiculous amount of heel slippage, but you don't fly out of the shoe overall, so it just gets the job done when it comes to the overall heel containment, in my opinion. So if you want better lockdown, go with the A1s, but these just get the job done in my opinion. And lastly, for the support, they're basically the same on all fronts when it comes down to support, in my opinion. For lateral support, you get really nice stability with the TPU panels that you get, and you do get a little bit of an outrigger from the midsole itself that protrudes a little bit outward, so you have really nice containment when it comes to lateral support in the forefoot. And the ginormous TPU panel that wraps up into the materials gives you really good containment in the midfoot as well. And you're also going to get a double dose of TPU heel counters with the outside plastic as well as the internal one that you get, which is really nice and containing in the heel. And you also get a flared out midsole in the back that gives you a little bit more stability in the heel when it comes to overall lateral support in that case. And you get the same tooling when it comes to the infinity shank plate that you get, which gives it a really nice supportive feel in and out of the shoe, and it still retains some flexibility, that way it doesn't feel too stiff. And the base of the shoe is exactly the same as the high top, with the bumped out ridges that you get. Feels nice and wide, and at the same time feels flat, which is weird considering that it is a bumped out outsole, but it felt very nice and flat on the floor, and it was very confidence inducing with every single step that I took. So you can't go wrong when it comes to support in the low version as well as the high top version. The overall lateral support package that you get is very nice and supportive, and the overall balance that you get inside the shoe with the shank plate as well as the wide base that you get is very nice and supportive, and it was great on all fronts, just like the original AE1s. So when it comes to the AE1 lows, it is a very good shoe and very similar to the AE1 high tops in my opinion. The traction is beastly, it is the same outsole that you're going to get. The overall materials are pretty good, aside from it being a low top, and the support features that you get are exactly the same, and they're very supportive laterally and give you great balance. But in terms of an overall, like, really good shoe, I prefer the high tops over the lows, considering the cushion is a little bit better. It has a little more liveliness, a little more bounce, and a little more comfortable compared to the low tops. And the overall lockdown that you get in the high tops are significantly better when it comes to the heel slippage in general. So it is kind of hard to veer one way towards the other because they're exactly the same. So if you want a more responsive cushioning setup and a little more comfortable in my opinion, and you get better lockdown overall, I would go with the high top version, and it's only $10 extra. But if you want similar performance without breaking the bank too much, considering that it is $10 cheaper, you feel free to go for the AE1 lows. They're still very similar at the end of the day, but in terms of the overall package, you're going to get slightly more performance in the high tops compared to the low tops overall in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my performance review on the AE1 lows. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below on what you think is better out of the two, the high top AE1s or the low tops overall. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, and if there are any differences between the two, I'd like to know your thoughts, as well as any other questions that you have. Feel free to comment down below. And if you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below. It'll greatly support the channel as well. And if you'd like to see my review on the original AE1s, I will leave it on this side of the screen. And if you want to follow me on social media, all the information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys, and until next time, keep shooting.